Hi there, welcome to this Java tutorial from Lithus.com. In this tutorial, let's look at polymorphism and the different kinds of polymorphism in Java. Let's start with the most important form of polymorphism in Java. That's basically through abstract class. So what we have defined in here is a small abstract class. I've called it animal. We have an abstract class defined called animal, and there's an abstract method bark defined in it. So we have a simple animal class with a bark abstract method, and then I'm creating a dog extending animal and implementing the bark method. So that's returning back a string bow bow. That's basically what the dog says. I'm not able to say it like a dog, but that's the string representation I gave to it. Yeah, I've created another class cat which extends animal also, and it says meow meow. So basically what we have right now is what you see on the screen. So I have three classes, one an abstract class animal, and then two classes dog and cat, implementing the extending the abstract class and implementing the bark method with different values. So in the first form of polymorphism, it's basically this. I've written a JUnit test for this. Basically, like I've called it polymorphism abstract class example because this uses the abstract class concept. What I've created is an array of animals. If you look at the reference used, it's the reference of the abstract class. Animal is an abstract class. So we have an array of references to an abstract class, and what we are putting in there is the actual object. So what we are putting in there is implementation of an abstract class animal. That one of them is dog and the other one is a cat. So what I'm doing is an array of animals containing a dog and a cat, and what I'm doing is here I'm getting the first animal and saying bark. So that's animal of 0 is actually a dog, and when I say bark it says bow bow. So that's what it's defined to do. That's good. And when I call the same thing on the second animal, which is a cat, it says meow meow. So the method which is invoked on the same abstract class reference is different based on what the values it contains. So the reference contains dog, then it calls bow bow, and if it contains cat, it calls meow meow. So that's a really good example of how polymorphism works. Let's just run this and let's check that what I'm saying is true. So that's really good. So that's the first example which we wanted to discuss. The second example which we'll look at regarding polymorphism also uses inheritance. So what do we have here? We have a superclass where I have a method to override define, and it's returning -1. So I have a superclass which returns -1 when the method to override is called, and I have a subclass 1 which extends this superclass, and what it's doing is overriding that method. So what happens is when I have this subclass overriding this method, basically this completely overrides this method, and it's almost like when you are using the subclass 1, this method doesn't exist. So that's overriding. Probably I can actually call this super method if I want to do some logic from the super method. I can do this and do something with it, but over here for this example that's not needed. So, and the next thing I have created is another subclass called subclass 2, which extends the superclass and also overrides it but returns a different value too. So basically we have a superclass returning -1, subclass overriding the same method and returning 1, another subclass overriding the same method and returning 2. That's basically what we have, and I've created a simple test. If you look at this thing here, what we have in the test is, oops, let's get that into the screen. Yeah, what we have in this test is polymorphism basic example. I've created an array using superclass references. So I have superclass references to all the objects. So I've created in the array a new superclass, a new subclass 1, and new subclass 2. And when I call superclass 0 dot method to override, it returns me -1. This superclass method is called. Here, when I do superclass of 1 dot method to override, it returns me back 1. That's the method from subclass 1 is called, and here this method from subclass 2 is called. So using the same superclass reference, we are calling the methods from different classes. This is what is polymorphism. So let's run this test and check. Okay, please do save. And it's a success. So that's the second example of polymorphism. Okay, before we go to the next example, this is kind of a dubious example of polymorphism. This is called method overloading. So what we can do in Java and a lot of other object-oriented languages is overload a method. So basically I have a method here, overloaded method with no parameters, add the same method with the same name but a different kind of parameters. So I have one parameter in here and here I have two parameters. So this is called method overloading, and this is one of the types of polymorphism. Some people don't really consider this polymorphism, but that's okay. What we are doing here is calling the overloaded method, it returns 0, and then we are calling the overloaded method with 5 with an argument, it returns me back 5, and when I can call the overloaded method with 2 arguments as well. So we have created overloaded methods with a different number of arguments. So that's another example of polymorphism. With the same name, I'm calling different methods, and I'll run the JUnit test as usual, and this succeeds. So that's really good. So we have looked at three examples of polymorphism. Hopefully it was clear. We are creating more videos as we speak, and if you want to stay updated, don't forget to click the subscribe button. If you like this video, please give a thumbs up and feel free to share this video. Thanks for watching. Until next time.